Hi friends, a little while ago I got to infiltrate PAX East. I saw lots of cool things and tons of game made by awesome people, but one game in particular stood out from the rest. I got to spend about an hour playing an upcoming game called Wayfinder with my human's hands, and from that hour I took away one thing. Wayfinder is awesome. Buckle up, grab your Gloom Daggers, and get ready to deal with some dimensional distortions. First of all, you're probably wondering, what is Wayfinder? I heard people at PAX East comparing it to Warframe, so if you've ever played the Space Ninja Simulator, you probably have a good idea of what to expect in terms of gameplay and general structure. Both Warframe and Wayfinder are also published by Digital Extremes, so they do have a lot in common. However, Wayfinder also has plenty of things that set it apart. First of all, it's being developed by Airship Syndicate, which besides its super cool name, has a bit of a reputation for delivering incredible art and gaming experiences. Led by an icon of the comic book industry, Joe Mad, Airship Syndicate is responsible for Battle Chasers Night War, Ruined King, a League of Legends story, and Darksiders Genesis. Going back even further, key members of Airship Syndicate also worked at Vigil Games, the studio that created the Darksiders series. I said all of this to say this: Wayfinder is being made by people who love what they do, and they're really good at it. As for the world of Wayfinder, that's called Evenor. Once a vibrant, bustling place, Evenor has now been infected by a shapeless evil called the Gloom after an apocalyptic event. No one knows what the Gloom is or where it comes from, but they do know what it does. The Gloom produces energy that can manipulate and pull anything from one reality into another, often leading to disastrous results. The same energy can also be used to bring back warriors who have fallen in their fight with the Gloom, which is what the Wayfinders are. As a Wayfinder, it's your job to discover the true nature of the Gloom as you attempt to quell it. The Gloom Dagger is the only thing that can cut through the Gloom, and it can only be held by Wayfinders. Little robots without fingers or thumbs don't even have a shot. The Gloom Dagger is what you use to access Wayfinder's dungeons via Gloom Gates, which brings us to the gameplay. Unlike other fantasy MMOs you might be familiar with, Final Fantasy XIV, Wayfinder doesn't have a character creator per se. Instead, it has a selection of defined heroes with their own backstories and abilities. However, don't let that scare you off if you love to spend hours customizing your characters in MMOs, because Wayfinder does have that sort of. Characters are completely customizable, from their cosmetics to their skills and even what weapons they use. Each character is clearly geared towards a specific type of weapon, but there are no restrictions on what you can use with any character. Get creative and experiment with weapons as much as you want. This level of customization, combined with the reality overlapping effects the Gloom has on Evenor, makes it completely plausible for different versions of the same character to be in the same areas, or even on the same team. Kind of like Into the Spider-Verse, but Warriors of Light. No, that's still kind of the Spider-Verse. The fully voice-acted characters currently in Wayfinder include the Heavy Templar Wingrave, the bomb-throwing speedster Silo, Senja, the greatest gladiator in the history of the Imperial Arena, Kairos, who is Airship's unique take on a wizard, and Nis, who throws her hands back as she runs and does cool hand signs to activate her ultimate ability, which essentially makes her Naruto, or Boruto, depending on which generation you are. There was an additional character named Venomous, who was also shown at PAX, who seems to be an athletic sniper with a holographic companion and will be included in Season 1. And you'll be able to watch animated shorts that expand their stories on YouTube leading up to the game's release. The developer's goal right now is to release 3 new characters per year. They're also avoiding the slog most other games become when shooting for major unlocks, but more on that later in the video. The developer's goal is to also have the Wayfinder stories expanded in gameplay through cutscenes and something they're calling the Discovery System, which will activate animated flashbacks or voice lines when you come across something that triggers a memory for your character. Going back to the weapons, there's a lot of variety and you'll be using them a lot because Wayfinder is all about fast-paced action. Want to do big slashes with sharp objects? They got it. Want to do loud shooties with cool guns? They got that too. The weapons in Wayfinder have almost as much importance as the characters. In addition to the stats you might expect, they also have their own names and different methods of upgrading them, so it's easy to get attached. Before you get into the action though, you'll spawn in Wayfinder's hub world called Skylight. Skylight has a town square, a big tavern, and other areas to explore and gather with friends. You can also craft, accept quests from NPCs, outfit your Wayfinder, and prepare for your next quest here as well. In the future, Skylight will also include apartments that you can own and furnish with crafted furniture. When you cross through a Gloom Gate, you'll enter a randomly generated dungeon called a Lost Zone, which is made up of handcrafted assets and designed for parties of 3 Wayfinders. To reconnect this broken world, you'll need to crawl through these lost zones to destroy the gloom anchors holding them in place. The creatures and boss characters controlling the gloom won't be pushovers, but that's why you charge in with 2 other teammates. Wayfinders fight as one, and they're stronger together. What's interesting about Wayfinder's gameplay loop is that you aren't running dungeons in hopes of collecting weapons, armor, or accessories. Instead, loot takes the form of materials for crafting. That's because everything in Wayfinders can be crafted. Not just weapons, armor, or accessories, but characters too. The purpose of running dungeons is to collect the materials you need, not unlike Monster Hunter quests. But to prevent Wayfinder's gameplay from devolving into endless, mindless runs as if you were running down Rathalos plates, Airship Syndicate has implemented the mutation system. Mutators are items that can be crafted and applied to lost zones before you run them to modify any number of their aspects. Mutators can change the loot you'll find in a lost zone, ensure the appearance of things that would otherwise have a small percentage of a chance of showing up, like the Loot Goblin, and some mutator combinations can even alter how a Lost Zone's boss will act and attack. Mutators can even change a boss's name. When the game talks about controlling chaos, this is what they mean. And yes, you did hear me right, there is a Loot Goblin. Wayfinder is being designed as a constantly growing and evolving experience, which means one thing for certain, a battle pass system. I know, Wayfinder's battle pass system though is going to be different from most games of this type. First of all, they're not going to call it battle passes, it's just kind of a name we all know. But 1, these passes are not going to expire once you've purchased them. It's not going to be a seasonal thing, but a thing available to purchase during a season. When you level up your character, you will choose which battle pass you want to level up if you have multiple seasons. Think something like what Halo Infinite has in their battle pass system as well. Number 2, have upgradable tiers that will either come with the season's character or give you a head start on it for a lower price. Kind of standard with a hero game that we've seen so far, like Overwatch. And 3, kind of act like its own dungeon crawling adventure, something we have not seen in any game. The closest I can really think of is like Rainbow Six Siege, but that's still just kind of looking at numbers on a screen. Instead, you're going around collecting keys, and these are going to be used to unlock an estimated 100 nodes throughout lower levels of a tower, presented as an isometric digital board game each season. Airship Syndicate hopes to go bigger and better every season with large-scale content additions for open-world areas and dungeons, but that doesn't mean you'll need to shell out your cash every season. No, Wayfinder is completely free to play. No loot boxes or gacha mechanics. If you want to get your hands on Wayfinder, there is another closed beta event running in April, and the early access Season 1 is slated for sometime in May. Wayfinder will also support cross-play and cross-save, so you can play with friends regardless of platform and pick up your own progress across systems. And the music is really great, by the way. It's engaging but subtle enough that I wouldn't mind playing on loop like Lo-Fi Beats to Study to or Grind Levels to. Honestly, with the closed beta coming up this month, I can't wait to get to explore it more, and if y'all are gonna have to fight me to get a spot in the closed beta, I'm ready to put up dukes. And that's about it for Wayfinder. If you like this video, be sure to check out some of our other videos like this one, where we go over everything you need to know about Star Wars Jedi Survivor.